wolf falls to the ground. A scarlet puddle forms under it quite quickly. Mo Fan's pendant, activated. It begins to absorb the spiritual energy of the monster, which is left in the area after death. Then Zio, who runs up to the hero, asking if Brother Fan is okay. The guy in the same answer, wondering why the airbender is back. A friend explains his actions by saying that it has become too much. It was quiet, so he started to worry. Mo Fan invites a friend to look at the carcass, stating that he took care of the beast, so if he makes a promise, then he will definitely keep it. Zio, who admires his brother, the hero offers to talk outside, asking a friend to help rise up. He notices that his friend is injured, so he rushes to find out what happened. Mo Fan answers that it's nothing special and it's just a small scratch because his bones are intact. The friend decides to clarify. He said to lure the monster here because he knew what is here. Stalactites, really? Mentally, the guy is amazed at such foresight. Hero admits that he simply analyzed the situation near the military post before they left. They went here, and it was their instructor who said that they would train in this crater. Zio, who asks if it is a crater. Mo Fan gives a positive answer, emphasizing that crater is an unusually huge karst well, which formed this cave, and in the end, this cave is just filled with stalactites. The airbender realizes that a friend is just perfect. Use the terrain, so their victory is thanks to him. Then one of their own breaks down to friends, happy that they were both okay. That someone turns out to be a lightning mage from the team. It turns out that he and Mubai were running to their home together. Help, however, they ran into the instructor and his team on their way here. The guy decides find out what happened to the beast. Zio, who claims that Brother Fan took care of him. Here's the one. He was the one who summoned this beast, so it just couldn't be defeated so easily by little bastards like them. The airbender stands up for the hero, offering the interlocutor to go and make sure of his words for himself. Besides, that fucking beast had injured Mo Fan's leg. Bayan wants to say something to the presumptuous boy, however, the instructor urges him to calm down. The leader asks to be taken away. Children to the medical team. Tom can only agree to this. After some time at the infirmary, someone reports that they have confirmed that no more victims were found, and the only person who suffered the most was Mo Fan, and the rest got off minor bruises. The man says that's all he needed to know. Mentally, the hunter shudders because the realistic training plan had failed, but who knew it would turn out this way? The instructor watches the hero from the side. Two teachers communicate with him, trying to find out about its state. The guy admits that his leg no longer hurts. The man also realizes that the boy was able to defeat the monster alone. The teacher decides to find out what's going on. Happened to the monster. Mo Fan scratches the back of his head, saying that he just took care of him. Obviously, the guy doesn't want to reveal his thunder power. Zio Huo enters the conversation, who begins to praise the hero, but all his words resound cool just for the guy himself, and the rest of us feel bad about it. The teacher admits that this is not a very good way to praise someone, and another teacher believes that the guy had obviously read too many novels. Tan Yu mentally notes that the guy could have been the story of killing a monster. After all, he studied for only 1 year in school, but Mo Fan, there's definitely talent. After some time, the instructor gathers all the students of the academy together, informing them that at this stage, at the first stage of training, everyone demonstrated their bravery and competence. So according to the rules he outlined earlier, each student will receive a grade of 5. Many students start praising Mo Fan, admitting that they couldn't have done it without him. To even suggests trying to get into the guy's group when they go on a mission Next time, the man is about to leave, offering the children to start celebrating, but it is stopped by the hero, who remembers some of the rules he mentioned earlier. Mo Fan decides to clarify whether Chin's husband lied back then, because he heard that he is a man of his word. These words strain the head of the hunters, so he clarifies what the guy means by saying that I lied. The man gives the hero a gift, stating that he can take this thing and get out of the house. Is gas. The subordinate also offers the boss to recruit this guy, but he waves it off. This is by calling to go. While the instructor hasn't left yet, the hero decides to say something, saying that the wolf feels very bad. It was strange, like drinking enchanted water. The guy suggests that he might have had problems by the kidneys. Students get on the bus. Teachers monitor this entire process, making sure that everything is working properly. They sat down. While driving home, Mo Fan reflects on what happened. He is glad that I did get some magic items after leaving the field. Most likely, this one. The artifact is worth hundreds of thousands, so the hero becomes interested in what it looks like. Guy. He opens his fist and sees a simple icon with an emblem in the form of a curved braid. The realization that you get screwed up pretty quickly. At the Zufeng Mountain Range military outpost, a subordinate gives a report to the boss in which he describes an incident that occurred with a student of Tianlin High School during their training. Then, he starts reading, carefully studying each sheet and photo. The instructor orders Bayan to assemble a team and conduct a thorough investigation of the crater, its surroundings. Mentally, the hunter does not understand why he is overwhelmed with a sense of unease. At this time, Mo Fan is actively training in the park. After performing his techniques, he falls to the ground, starting to breathe heavily. While he is taking a deep breath, the hero realizes that as soon as the summer leaves, the holidays would be over. He would only have 1 year left in school, and the day of the duel was getting closer and closer. The hero begins to analyze what happened recently. Magic attack on a single target. It is effective in battles with an equal opponent, but a powerful beast is more likely to kill it before he can put the orbits of the stars back together. If we draw conclusions from the fact that if it happened in the field exit, then he was able to defeat the beast only because he caught it. Surprised by stalactites. Even though there were other mages with him, they were still in the big one. Prasak at the end. Based on all this, Mo Fan decides that he should definitely study security techniques. Then the hero remembers about that protective object, a skeletal shield, which he was awarded with the instructor. The guy assumes that this thing can help him in this case. He pulls out an object. He is interested and realizes that this thing looks very small. He has doubts about your idea, because if this item does not have special abilities, it does not even depend on the bird. She can protect him. Mo Fan ponders, assuming that this magic item is capable of changing its own properties, dimensions, such as the staff Sun Wukong uses. He decides to try one. Just once, he throws the skeleton into the air, after which it attaches to his head, starting to emit yellow light. After a few moments, the magic item will transform into a huge skeleton with horns on the head, which protects the hero from danger with its ribs. The guy doesn't believe his own eyes, because it really worked. With such a thing, a guy can no longer think about defense at all. With a flick of your finger, it calls. The guards return to their normal form. Mo Fan analyzes the situation. Now it has protective gear, and he is also able to use 2 elements. It has developed a sufficient skill level, but he feels like he's progressing too slowly. His 2nd level magic isn't that good, so the 3rd level isn't even worth mentioning. The guy realizes that if he had a spiritual stardust amulet, then everything would be great. Then the guy remembers about the spiritual essence, which he managed to forget about, because the more he feeds his amulet, the stronger it becomes. The hero breaks into a run, thinking that his lovely essence is about to be in his hands. He gets to the spiritual essence store and sees a sign that says that the discount on spiritual essences are only available today, so you can buy one for just 5 million yuan. However, the number of products is limited, so it is better to buy while it is still in stock. Mo Fan. He swears in frustration. He obviously doesn't have that kind of money. The guy lowers his head, noticing that even though they're discounted, they're still worth $5 million, and even if he sold his skeleton shield, he still wouldn't have enough money to buy it. Purchase of 1 spiritual essence. Then a leaflet arrives in the hero's face. He rips it off and angry, so he looks around, trying to figure out how uncivilized trash is here. It's littering. Mo Fan looks down at the leaflet. They offer to join the city guild. Demon hunters, however, are being recruited by experienced fighters. The leaflet offers benefits and compensation for the protection of citizens. The guy understands that the demon hunt in the city is not only about hunting demons. It will allow him to gain real combat experience, but it will also allow him to collect spiritual essences from the enemy, fallen monsters, so that's exactly what he needs right now. Wearing a mask on his face, the hero enters the building of the Guild of Hunters, getting directly into the lobby. The guy is surprised at how many people there are. An old man tells a young guy that the competition is too huge, and he was in the elite class of the Tan Magic School when he was young. Fallow deer. Looking at this crowd, Mo Fan realizes that a person like him who hasn't graduated yet. However, it will be almost impossible to pass such a selection. Despite his thoughts, the guy still decides to enter the queue and try to get into the squad. Hunters. When it comes to his turn, he holds out a folder with his resume, but the man at the counter says that there is no need for this because they already have too many resumes. So he'll ask the guy a couple of questions, and the guy will answer. The man asks for the full name. The other person. The hero introduces himself as Fang Mo. The hunter asks him how many battles he's been in. Mo Fan starts to mumble, which makes the other person realize that he hasn't been in any battles. This angers the man, so he asks if he thinks that demon hunters are just a bad idea, having fun, or it's an easy way to make money. He asks you not to waste his time. The hero is not. He knows how to respond to this, but the receptionist intervenes. The girl brings a pile papers, asking the commander to stop pushing people so quickly. Beauty suggests to start with, find out what element the guy has. Mo Fan scratches the back of his head, saying that he has the element of lightning. Mentally, he notes that he is young, can say that it has 2 different elements, so it thinks that at first it will tell you about the most powerful ones. These words impress both the girl and the man. They're both nervous. They ask again. The hunter laughs nervously, not understanding why the guy didn't tell him this sooner. She throws her arm over the guy's shoulder, pulling him to her and thanking everyone else for coming, because they no longer recruit, because they have found the right candidate they need. People, they shudder, because this sucker came here, showed off his lightning bolt and just stole them. Work. The hunter offers the young man to go with him, so that he can introduce the guy to their members. The squad. Mo Fan notices in his mind that he has a couple of thoughts about this. The squad leader is called Zhu Danhuang, and he is a fire mage. They approach a group of 3. Human. The first is a guy with a normal build. His name is Lai Wenji, and he is a wind mage. In the middle is the deputy leader, a girl with blue hair and blue eyes. She was wearing a tight-fitting dress with a very luxurious cutout just above her stomach. She is an ice mage, and her name is Kai Tong. The last member of the team is Huge, a man with very broad bones. His name is Fei Shi, and he is an earth mage. The leader asks the team members to let him introduce a new member of their squad. He tells them that it's the lightning mage that he just accepted into their ranks, Mo Fan. The hero is the same. It is amazing how strong the grip of the interlocutor is, but he finds the strength. Welcome everyone. Lai Wenji immediately asks if the leader is not too lucky, because to him, a lightning mage fell into his hands. The hero is approached by the only girl in the team. He buries his face in it, looking straight into its eyes. Mo Fan blushes because he doesn't understand what she's doing. Mentally, the guy shudders. After all, even in a place like this, he had encountered a member of the Mu family. Saitang decides to being honest with the guy, saying that if he wasn't strong enough, it wouldn't do any good. The element that he possesses will not be there. The guy can only agree with this mentally, emphasizing that those snobbish eyes look like family stuff to them. The wind mage is pulled away by a girl, asking not to frighten the newcomer, but the guy remembers that they, too. Unfortunately, I won't be able to celebrate Mo Fan's entry, as they have urgent matters to attend to. Hero. Privately, he is happy that he just joined, and already has a job. The hero reports that all, and fine, because this is a good opportunity to practice a little. Is that where Wenji comes in? Turns out to be next to the hero and hands him a pile of papers, saying that their new friend is like this, understanding, and that he's even starting to like it. The leader just sighs languidly at this. The firebender decides to stop fooling around and get down to business. All attention is focused on. The leader starts talking about their mission. They got a message from the middle school. Mingwen said that strange noises were constantly coming from the cafeteria, and one girl was missing. Weeks ago, Mo Fan nervously asks if it's about Ming Girls High School. Baines, the hero, recalls the leader's words about a girl missing from Minwen High School. Weeks ago. The fact is, that was the last time the guy had contact with Xingxia. He gets a very vague idea, so he grabs the wind mage, asking for help. Telephone. Mo Fan dials the number of the girl he promised to take care of, praying that she is fine. However, the phone is turned off or out of network coverage. Squad members. They look at each other, not understanding what's wrong with the new guy and why he's so excited. The hero also reports that I'd meet him later. Mo Fan takes off from his seat at top speed, mentally saying that he's all ready. Runs, addressing Xia. The owner of the Power of Ice notices that the newcomer has just been so gloomy. She doesn't understand why he's so scared. The goon is also worth the assumption that he just needed to go to the bathroom, but Lai Wenji realized that the guy had taken his phone, which he had been looking for. He's been waiting in line all night, so he yells at Tom to bring him back. Running outside, Mo Fan does not slow down, continuing to call the girl, but the result is the same number. The number is unavailable or out of network coverage. The hero swears to himself, not understanding why he wasn't a wind mage, since he was running too slowly. Some kind of driver. He looks out of the window, telling the guy to look around if he doesn't want to get run over. The guy runs into the house and starts climbing the stairs, shouting his girlfriend's name. Running up to, he knocks on the door asking if it's inside. Neighbors come out of their apartments at such loud noises. The nearest woman asks what the young man does. The hero asks for forgiveness, deciding to ask if they have seen in the last few days. 5 days for the girl who lives here. He describes her appearance. She has long hair and she moves around in a wheelchair, and she's also a quiet kid. The neighbors exchange glances, asking if she's not behind him. Mo-fan looks around. Behind him, Shin-sia actually appears in her wheelchair. On the girl's lap is a basket of groceries. The girl decides to ask her friend, "Big brother, what's he doing here?" There are tears welling up in the boy's eyes, and he covers his face with his hands to push them away. Shin-sia admits that if she had known he was coming, she would have taken more food. Hero hugs the girl, saying several times that it was so good that she was fine. The guy asks her to, "I didn't scare him like that anymore." Shin-sia blushes at her brother's behavior, not understanding what's going on at all. They enter the apartment, whereupon Mo-fan asks why her phone was unavailable. In his mind, he plans to cook something for his little sister. Shin-sia replies that she should. They turned it off because she didn't have time to pay the bill, or to be more precise, she couldn't pay the invoice. The guy says that he can cover these small expenses so that she doesn't feel bad. Restricted it. Sis doesn't decide to refuse, asking why he's in such a hurry to get here. "I came running and something's wrong." The hero says that a girl from her school has disappeared, so he tried to call her, but when he couldn't, he started to worry. It turns out that Shin-sia knew the missing girl. Her name is Lin Yuan, and she studied in a parallel classroom, and her little sister saw her in the library the day she went missing, and after. Instead, it disappeared. A little later, when Shin-sia was leaving the library, she felt a strange smell. She thought it was coming from the dining room. At that moment, a shiver ran down my spine. Goosebumps, because it felt like something was staring at her, so she decided to hurry up. Go back home. Then the little sister begins to blame herself for leaving, because if she had stayed then or Lin Yuan warned, all of this could have been avoided. The hero puts his hand on the girl's shoulder, telling him that he's joined the city hunter squad, and they're on their way there, so there was nothing to worry about. But one thing she needed to remember was that he would protect her no matter what. After some time, the hero meets with his squad. The beauty admits that she does not. "I thought he'd get here before they did." Lee urges the guy to give up his phone quickly. The leader is the same. He wants to know where he was. Mo-fan explains that he knew a certain person from this school, and I decided to ask him about the details, and he said that strange things were happening in the dining room. Mo-fan states that he is almost certain that there is one of two possible things there, either a maniac or a demon. The head of the squad agrees that the dining room should be carefully maintained, investigated. The deputy notes that in this case, they need to consider the layout of the school, and it will be divided into 2 groups of 3 people between the dining room and the main building. Hero raises hand, expressing a desire to go to the dining room. The owner of the Power of Fire clarifies whether the guy is sure of this, because, after all, this is his first mission with them. The hero calls you to rely on him. Seeing the determination in his eyes, the leader starts hitting him on the chest in a friendly way, claiming that he is like a newborn calf, not a baby. Fear of the tiger. These fraternal blows make the hero's eyes almost leave their own orbits. Mo-fan is given a small bracelet, asking him to take care of it. If he presses the bell button, then they would rush to him immediately. In the dining room at this time, there is a very depressing atmosphere. Mo-fan, standing at the entrance, admits to himself that the dining room looks creepy, causing him to wonder. Goosebumps. He decides to leave the backpack in a safe place, because who knows what kind of the devil can get out. But before he can take a step, an underground explosion occurs. A jolt that sent the empty trays tumbling to the floor. The guy tries to figure out what it was, because it's like a construction crew under the ground, shaking. Land. Then the hero notices beeping sounds at the end of the dining room, and there is also something flashing red. Mo-fan assumes it's a mouse. Walking a little closer to the source of the sound, the guy feels a sickening smell that comes from kitchens. He realizes that it might be the same smell that Shin-sia was talking about. Then a nasty, ugly mouse with one eye comes out of the tables. Her body is partially covered. Blood, and the red light is coming from her eye. Mo-fan makes a mental note that he doesn't have. It's impossible to get close to this thing because of the unbearable smell, but it's at least he can safely say that they are not dealing with a rapist, but with a demon. Guy. He presses a button, deciding to report what he has seen to the squad leader. After that, Mo-fan turns away, thinking that the demon is afraid of him. After all, this is quite possible. for even though it's bigger than a dog, it's still a mouse. This is where the hero feels the danger. He crouches down and a powerful beam of orange light passes over his head, shattering the glass. Fan comes out of hiding, asking what's up, and he's not even going to say hello. Before attacking, all he gets is the demon's angry growl. The hero reflects on the current situation. It didn't make any loud noises or he was rattling something, so how did the thing know he was here? Fan is trying to hide from the demon that follows the guy up the walls. The hero does not have time to come to any conclusion as the creature finds him again. By climbing on a huge pole in the center of the kitchen, she notices it and then shoots her beam out again. Fan breaks into a run and somehow dodges the direct beam. The same one posts a part of it. Look at the scraps. The guy turns around, amazed at the extent of the destruction. The demon is the same. Descends from the hill to look around the place of impact, which is covered with smoke. Hero hits a dead end. He doesn't understand how the enemy can attack so quickly. Fan decides to use a skeleton shield as a last resort, but he's not at all sure that's going to happen. Enough. The monster beam shoots at the hero again. A red slash appears in the forehead of that person, and he is going to use your shield to neutralize the attack, but the water attack knocks down the demon beam. The hero turns around and sees the members of his group. The leader immediately asks if everything is okay. The guy then asks Feishi to bring him to them. The fat man accepts the leader's order. The big guy asks the hero to hold on tight. He puts his hand on the floor and invokes his earth power, using the earthen relocation technique. The floor under the hero cracks, and he falls down. With the power of the earth, the man created an underground passage, thanks to which Fan was next to him. With your own. The leader notes that the newcomer did a good job, and now he should let them take care of him. Fan decides to ask the captain what kind of demon it is, which is very similar to a rat. He says that it is a giant one-eyed rat that masterfully digs tunnels. Usually the creatures live in the sewers under the city. Her main attack is a laser shot from the eye. It usually feeds on waste and doesn't come out unless something forces her to get out. It doesn't hunt humans. Owner, Elements of Ice notices that this rat is clearly starving. The Wind Force user states that we found her just in time. The captain only agrees with this judgment. The group leader tells his subordinates the plan, after which they begin to act. Coming out of his hiding place, they go out to fight the demon, and the most active of the group starts talking, calling her name, Small Cattle, and noting that she should behave like a rat, so he calls her out. Hurry up and get back to the sewer she crawled out of. To do this, he gets only a growl of displeasure. A huge rat breaks in the direction of the guy, demolishing all obstacles in its path. Fan notices that the demon moves even faster than the demonic wolf it was fighting. The Wind Power Wielder uses their power by using the Wind Trail Quick Step technique. He easily evades the creature's direct attack by asking the enraged monster if he really is a monster. Get back to the sewer she crawled out of. To do this, he gets only a growl of displeasure. A huge rat breaks in the direction of the guy, demolishing all obstacles in its path. Fan notices that the demon moves even faster than the demonic wolf it was fighting. The Wind Power Wielder uses their power by using the Wind Trail Quick Step technique. He marvels at the man's skills and self-confidence. The demon squeals angrily in its rat language, but the leader doesn't understand where it's going. Watching, he focuses the power of the flame in his palm, summoning the monster to taste it. The man uses a fire strike, but the huge rat feels threatened in this attack. So at the last moment, she moves out of range of the group leader's fire power. Fan, surprised by the monster's quick reflexes. The owner of the power of fire understands that the creature is trying to hide, but he is sure that this is not the case. It will work. A cloud of flame ignites in his hand, followed by several fire projectiles at once, sent to the demon. This technique is called explosive shrapnel. A powerful attack overtakes the monster, which seemed not even going to avoid the attack. Huge. The rat squeals in pain. Fan is amazed for the umpteenth time in this fight that the third person's low-ranked attacks levels can be so powerful. In this, the girl orders Kaitan and Feishi block escape routes. The big guy and the beauty take the order. The girl uses her power of ice, covering the entire ceiling with a layer of ice, and the fat man puts his hands to the ground, blocking the possibility of passage through the bottom. The demon is beeping something, obviously dissatisfied with this arrangement. The huge rat notices that the Lady of Ice has lost sight of him completely. Immersed in your task, the commander orders the subordinate to create a water shield, seeing how one of the members of his group is at a disadvantage. Representative. The fair sex is surprised and a little lost, which is why it cannot quickly concentrate. The demon's paw is already descending on Beauty when she notices the attack. She just doesn't have time for. However, at this moment, the sound of lightning echoes through the room. Space lights up with a purple flash. The girl turns around and sees the carcass of a huge rat falling to the ground, kicking in the air. Convulsions from electric shocks passing through the body. Everyone freezes in surprise, and Mo Fan notes that he barely managed to save her. The Wind Mage approaches the hero, noticing that it was perfectly executed, and then he asks if the guy is capable. At this, Mo Fan laughs nervously, saying that he is trying hard. At this time, the commander reprimands the subordinate. He asks how many times he has already told her, so that she doesn't let her team down, after which she claims that Kaitan was very close to death. The girl trembles all over at these words. She is incredibly ashamed, and her eyes are welling up tears. The man also reminds that she is responsible for protecting the team, so that she is always in charge. Must be on the lookout for the group to remain safe. The beauty reprimands the subordinate. He asks how many times he has already told her, so that she doesn't let her team down, after which she claims that Kaitan was very close to death. The girl, they'll take care of the problem, so he suggests we just leave. When Kaitan passes by the hero, she turns sharply to him and thanks him for what she has done. Salvation. The guy is a little surprised by this, but still squeezes out please. The team is about to leave, and Mo Fan decides to ask the captain if they are really finished a job, because there's still a girl who's missing. The man informs that they will keep it. The police, after all, their goal was to neutralize any monsters they could. Find Awen Jai and Fei Shi to help the police with their investigation. Hero hoped that this girl, still alive. The hero stops abruptly, noticing how the pendant around his neck begins to glow with a blue hue. Then he remembers the spiritual essence. The artifact attracts a blue bundle of energy to itself from a defeated creature. Mo Fan quickly realizes that this power belonged to this giant, a one-eyed rat. The captain turns out to have been waiting for a subordinate in the meter all this time, so he asks, does something disturb the person who then calls for you to go? The hero says that he is already running. Events transferred to the Mu family's estate, a private swimming pool. Beautiful girl in bathing suit, dipping in warm water, but someone uses their power of ice, then causes a cry of the fair sex. That someone turns out to be a young man with dark hair and sharp features. He notices that his father wants to see his uncle. This guy turns out to be Yuan and the head of the family. Mu notices that he has made a masterful progress in ice magic, so he will definitely win in ice magic. The upcoming duel. Yuan asks what kind of duel we are talking about. Then the kid remembers about that bastard, noting that he doesn't even consider it worthy an opponent. The man laughs, noticing that the kid is very cheeky. In fact, he wouldn't mind if the two of them annihilated each other in this duel. After all, it would be a great fight. Events are transferred to the Mu family mansion. Yuan apologizes for his impertinence, but he doesn't. He understands why such a pointless duel should be arranged for him. The man explains that the day dueling will also be the day of his transition into adulthood, and if they just invite a couple. If you have a couple of guests coming to the celebration, wouldn't it be boring, however, if they added a couple to the program? Interesting events. The man explains that organizing a duel between him and Mo Fan will show the guy's true strength. I hope that eventually everyone will realize what he is capable of. Mu Bai's father notices that my father had anticipated everything. The man asks his son not to worry, because as soon as the ceremony, when the battle is over, the winner of the duel will be granted access to an underground spring, and, of course, the winner will be him. The boy gets up from his seat, hurrying to clarify whether we are talking about the very place that gives strong acceleration of development during training in magic. The father confirms this by adding that his son is not a child. The power is superior to any star equipment that helps in training, so this is a perfect opportunity for a promising mage like him. UAI states that he will constantly train so as not to betray the hopes placed on him. Mentally, he notices that heaven worships him, because it is unlikely that he will still have the opportunity to receive access to an underground water source. The man asks him not to let him down, because many magicians have lived and died without ever setting foot in the temple. An underground spring in your life. Events are transferred to Tianlin High School. Friend. The hero goes to school, realizing with horror that time has flown by unnoticed, because he did not have time and blink an eye, as the holidays are already over, and they have already become third-year students. But the pitiful air magic hadn't progressed to the second stage in the slightest. Then the kid finds Mo Fan, noticing that he hasn't seen him all summer, so he asks, where did he train on the sly? The hero shakes his head nervously that he hasn't trained. It turns out that Mo Fan had reached the second stage in lightning magic while working for the city squad. Hunters. The friend snuggles up to the hero, slyly clarifying, "Then this is something else? So what is the hero talking about?" He doesn't say anything about whether or not he's found a girlfriend. He asks you not to talk nonsense. There's an airbender here. Draws attention to something. The kid says he's done some fantastic research here. The hero nervously asks, "So what?" A friend says that he noticed that their classmate Ju Min was constantly gawking at them. Lately. The hero turns in the direction of the beauty, who immediately looks away, to the side, blushing with embarrassment. This is immediately noticed by the airbender. Mo Fan thinks that his friend was imagining it. Privately, he fears that the girl has recognized him. Abilities in lightning magic. Lessons fly by unnoticed. A friend notices that quite recently, he found a nice restaurant. Then the girl asks Mo Fan to pay attention to her. The same beauty that my friend was talking about asks if he could come with me for a little while, because she had something to tell him. The wind mage immediately flies up to the hero, stating that he knew that he was right, so he says goodbye, noting that they'll go out tomorrow. The hero only agrees with by this. While running her fingers through her hair, Ju Min nervously starts talking about what she wanted to ask him, whether he's available tomorrow. A look of hope rises to the hero. Mo Fan shudders inwardly. After all, it seems that he is going to confess his love to him, and the last one is hers. The question puts him in a stupor because it's too direct. The hero reminds them that they are still students. Then the girl starts talking. Her grandmother lives in an old city neighborhood, and she says she hears strange noises at night. It's just hope that he would help her investigate this place. Mo Fan realizes what he's thinking. Not at all. And then he mentally asks her if she could breathe easier in this place. In this case, Ju Min asks for forgiveness because she understands that the request is unexpected, and he does not owe her to help. The hero replies that she does not need to worry, because he will definitely come, because to refuse a lady's request for help, a gentleman would never do that. It takes them 20 minutes to reach the place where the shaking starts every time. The girl notices that he is too worried, and he only asks to pull himself together. It gets out of. He picks up a flask of greenish powder, then sprinkles it on the ground. Ju Min admires it because it's a monster tracking powder. Mo Fan touches the ground, on which huge footprints appear. He immediately emphasizes that there is definitely something here. Monsters. The guy says that if his guess is correct, then the monster they are dealing with, a one-eyed magical wolf. The beauty is surprised by this, and it is not clear to her how such a monster. They ended up in the city. There are distant knocks, as if someone is walking. Ju Min nervously asks what she should do. The hero asks her not to panic, and she suggests, call the city hunters, but Mo Fan suggests making sure of what's going on. In his mind's eye, he notices that one of the city's hunters is standing in front of her. They are approaching the zone. Construction projects. They enter the building and start looking around. After some time, the girl calls the hero. In a whisper, he walks up to her and freezes in place. On the floor lies the gnawed hand of a man. Poor devils. It makes him realize that it's not human food at all. Ju Min shares his guesses about this monster eating a human. It emphasizes that her grandmother lives in the area, so it's too dangerous. Mo Fan is also a little confused, because this one-eyed wolf is bigger than the ones they've seen in textbooks. Hero encourages the girl to run to safety and then contact the team of hunters. Ju Min claims that she has already informed them. The guy watches nervously as he puts the phone away, knowing that she had made up her mind too quickly. The hero also remembers that lesson about the giant to a one-eyed rat, as if it was only yesterday. The wind mage asks the guy if he doesn't know for sure how she discovered it. Mo Fan says that he was hiding under the window while he activated that. The device was probably silent all the time, so he doesn't understand how it was discovered. The other person laughs, noticing that the friend is really a novice. It turns out that these monstrosities are sensitive to electrical signals, so he must move away from any communication device for at least 100 seconds before using it. Meters. After that, the airbender notices that the guy saved Kai-tan, so he has to pat on the back and relax for the rest of the day. Events are transferred to reality. Hero. He bows his head in frustration. The girl doesn't understand what's wrong with him. Mo Fan grabs the girl's arm, urging her to run and not look back. Ju Min didn't understands what came over the classmate. A question comes out of her mouth, why do they have to run? However, the response comes quickly. From behind, a one-eyed wolf can be heard growling as it turns its head. Pay attention to the couple. The monster's eye turns scarlet, and a classmate nervously asks if she just sent it. A short message, so how could it reveal them? Mo Fan starts to explain what it is, an electronic signal, and then asks her to forget, because it doesn't matter anymore. Mo Fan asks the girl to take her grandmother to a safe place while he tries his best. Detain him. Zhu Ming asks how he is going to do it. He declares that she should not. I was worried because he had a plan. The beauty asks the guy to take care of himself. The hero throws the briefcase aside, and the huge wolf pays attention to the fleeing girl. A girl, clearly wanting to break after her, but a pebble flies into his face, after which the hero says he's looking the wrong way. Mo Fan points a finger at himself and notices that his face is not quite clear. The enemy is standing right in front of him. The monster's eye is filled with blood, and then from its mouth, a growl breaks out. The creature raises a paw, ready to deliver a fatal blow. Mo Fan activates the power of fire, using incineration. A cloud of fire is sent at the enemy, but the creature shrugs it off, as from midges, destroying part of the building at the same time. A pile of dust and smoke rises, blocking the view. The hero realizes that the magic of the second. The level isn't high enough, and this beast has a large attack radius, so if it gets close, it will kill you. He'll be at a huge disadvantage, so he'll have to keep his distance. Made of dust. There's a rustle. When the dust clears, the hero is no longer there. He draws the monster's attention to himself by jumping. Somewhere in the distance, Mo Fan claims that even if it is difficult for him to notice a living person like him, then his pathetic eye is nothing more than an ornament. At this, monster angrily growls, breaking off to the side. The hero only notices that the dog is rather stupid. A skeleton shield appears from behind the hero's back, which immediately envelops the hero with its protection, preparing to take any blow on itself. The one-eyed wolf takes a powerful blow to the muzzle. Blood begins to ooze from the creature's mouth, and the creature itself begins to bleed. The monster flies backwards, falling on its side. Mo Fan realizes that his skeletal shield didn't work. The guy swears, because the head of this creature, it looks like it's made of metal, because after such a powerful blow, the creature is still standing on its feet. In the next instant, the one-eyed wolf opens its eye, glaring angrily at the man who has just left. I hurt him. Then the hero becomes not up to jokes, because he is stuck among the iron bars. In his mind, he curses that those damn pieces of hardware have set him up so badly at this moment. He claims that he was only fooling around, and it was all a joke and nothing more, but the monster is not going to listen to a person while snapping at them with an angry growl. This is where the owner of the power of ice comes to the rescue. She uses an ice wave, freeze, to stop the one-eyed wolf, which immediately turns its attention to a new one. The hero exchanges pleasantries with a girl who asks what he is doing here. In his mind, Mo Fan is happy to be saved, but in his ear, he says that they have arrived just in time. The beauty calls him an idiot and asks him to hurry up and get out of here so that this is done. Hunters. Zhu Min runs down a busy street. She stumbles across a car with a familiar face. The hunters then asks Mo Fan to hold out a little longer. The owner of the power of ice communicates with the head on the phone, asking if he warned Mo Fan. Without a lightning mage, it won't be easy to defeat this beast. Another one appears from behind. A man who doesn't understand what they're waiting for, because he can deal with this worthless monster. Easy and casual. Kaitan gives a negative answer, explaining that they should be careful and stick to the procedure first, so it's best to wait for everyone to come. Here, the unknown person is Yuan, who decides to find out who the boy she called is. The girl calls him a brat who publicly humiliated Mujo Yun. The guy realizes that this is the guy he's scheduled to duel with. He admits that he thought he would fight with someone more impressive. At this time, the hero runs up to Zhu Min, who is driving her grandmother in a wheelchair. The guy notices that he's glad they're unharmed, but he should go back. Girl doesn't understand the guy's logic, noting that there's already a team of hunters out there, so it's best to leave it at that. Professionals. Mo Fan also asks her not to worry, because he dropped his phone there, so just go back and take it away. The one-eyed monster roars angrily as it destroys the ice trap. The owner of this power, he tells the commander that they don't have much time, and the commander just gives out that even if he doesn't have enough time, he can't do anything about it. Use a fire strike. It will not destroy it in one shot, however, its ice is inevitable. It will thaw and disappear. The wind mage notices that they are too close to the city, so if she provokes him, they will not be able to escape. You can't avoid the consequences. The big guy says that it would be great if Mo Fan was here. At this time, the hero, standing on the fence, declares that he just heard someone praise him. Appearance. A little explanation. The hero wears a mask, not destroy it in one shot, however, its ice is inevitable. It will thaw and disappear. The Wind Mage notices that they are too close to the city, so if she provokes him, they will not be able to escape. You can't avoid the consequences. The big guy says that it would be great if Mo Fan was here. At this time, the hero, standing on the fence, declares that he just heard someone praise him. Appearance, a little explanation. The hero wears a mask, not destroy it in one shot, however, its ice is inevitable. It will thaw and disappear. The Wind Mage notices that they are too close to the city, so if she provokes him, they will not be able to escape. You can't avoid the consequences. The big guy says that it would be great if Mo Fan was here. At this time, the hero, standing on the fence, declares that he just heard someone praise him. Appearance, a little explanation. The hero wears a mask, not destroy it in one shot, however, its ice is inevitable. It will thaw and disappear. The Wind Mage notices that they are too close to the city, so